And we're back. Hello. Welcome back to On My Mind, the podcast featuring yours truly, Michael and Miguel. It's been a minute since I last recorded an episode. It's been a minute since Miguel last recorded an episode. In fact, the last time we recorded an episode was
during the summer
of 2023. Welcome to 2024.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy Halloween. All the good stuff. We'll just sum it up in happy holidays. The boys are back in town, man. It feels good to be back in studio. You know, Miguel, how you doing this fine Friday?
I'm coughing a lot.
Yeah, this man became like Heisenberg.
Yeah,
like,
we played after we play like boot in the gym, and ever since that, I think I got sick or something. I don't know. But it's okay.
It's crazy how we both took a water break at the same time.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyways, if you're relatively new to the show, I created this podcast during my junior year of high school, and it's kind of crazy that I'm now a junior in college. So it's been a long 4 years, many episodes, many guests, and we out here. I went on a hiatus last semester, and we typically upload every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us on YouTube or whatever platform you're listening to us now. My original idea for the show is to like stay connected with my friends during the pandemic. And I mean, it kind of stayed the same in terms of like purpose, but ever since it really has like evolved to like feature interviews with some people we find cool, and we play games and stuff here and now. And then we do like regular segments like today. We got our weekly W's.
I forgot about that.
So on my Instagram, and by my Instagram, I mean the podcast Instagram at OMM the podcast. I asked you guys to drop below your W's of the week, and then we'll do like a special shout out on today's episode. I just wanted to start 2024 with positive vibes, but like we've been doing this like pretty much all of last year. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So shout out to the whopping one person who replied. Listen, I understand it's been a minute since I last recorded an episode. I wasn't expecting a huge, viewers, surge in viewers, but we'll see. Manny says, I feel healthy and am kicking it with the boys. The boys are back in town. That is like the theme of today's episode. It's just going to be, catching up with the guys, aka me and Miguel. And then I don't know, you'll get your usual shenanigans. So I say we just jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
So Miguel went to Prague for a study abroad program, and I was doing like my own thing here. And like it wasn't like that I lost interest in doing the podcast. Last semester was
he lost
easily
his slave. He lost the person who like did all the work. So that's
why I had no one to do the thumbnails, man. So I was just like, what the hell do I do?
Yeah, that just comes to tell that I am like
he carries.
I am the heart of the podcast.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Yeah. No, I mean, last semester was like probably my busiest semester at my time here at Bowdoin. And I really wanted to like focus on time management and like really getting together like all the stuff that I had going on in life. And unfortunately, this podcast kind of fell off my routine, my schedule. It didn't help that, I didn't have my wonderful co-host here. But I'm excited to hear about some of Miguel's adventures,
a lot to talk about.
You got a lot to talk about?
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all I pretty much did, I played a ton of Frisbee, I made the team. I feel like I'm cutting out a little bit. I made the team. It was awesome. I never expected Frisbee to kind of like become a big part of my life, but it's one of those communities on campus that like is kind of goofy at first, but then once you kind of like like dedicate yourself and like you really start to see like the heart and like the spirit, and it's great. It's so awesome. And so I've been a part of the team for like and pretty much since I started here at Bowdoin, and it's been great. But I don't want to steal the show, Miguel. I mean, Miguel
Steal
went.
the
Miguel went
show.
to Europe, and like I'm over here talking about frisbee. You know, what the hell are we doing here?
I mean, like Europe. I mean, I don't even know where to start.
Okay, well, I guess we'll start off with like how was like the travel, like how was that going there? You
Going
know,
there, it was very long. This is the first time I'm going to Europe, and the flight I had a layover in Frankfurt, and
Germany.
yes, in Germany. And from what I remember, the flight was pretty much around like a little less than 10 hours long, the first flight. Um, and I landed in Germany, I was very tired and I still had to go through customs. I remember going through customs because I gave the guy my passport. He was this German guy, like German police officer or whatever.
Okay.
And I gave him my passport and he like looked at it, he looked at me, he looked at it again, he looked at me again, then he just stayed looking at it for like a solid 10 seconds. And then he kind of just like glanced at me one more time and then he just stamped it and then he just gave it to me. He's like, "Welcome to Europe." And I was like, okay.
That must be mad scary.
Yeah. But I had my visa, so I was fine. Like, I don't see any reason why they would have stopped me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because of the way I look, but I don't know. Yep. And then I had my layover there, and then from there I flew to Prague. And by the time I was there, I was so tired, but they didn't let us rest. They
Bruh.
still had us awake. I think I got there like around the afternoon, like a noon afternoon local time. So I've been awake for basically more than, I would say, 14 hours, 15 hours. I mean, that's typical for a day maybe, but I was awake for a long time and I got there and I just wanted to go to sleep, but they didn't let us sleep.
Yeah, I just feel like travel hours are like just they're different than like your typical day-to-day hours.
Yeah, because you get the jet lag from just, seeing the sun for like a very long time. But yeah, that was my trip. I was very tired by the time I got there. And also like I got a like stomach bug in the beginning of the program because of
Yeah.
it, I think. So like I was eating shit the first week or so. But then after that my appetite kind of leveled, so that's when I
Yeah.
started feeling better.
Yeah.
But yeah, Prague. I guess I can start with the city too. Prague is very beautiful. Um, it literally looks like it makes sense because a lot of stuff is filmed there in terms of like movies. Like for example, if you see like a blockbuster, I don't know, let's say John Wick, for example, you see like sort of like your standard European city in a film like that. It's most likely filmed in Prague because it's cheaper to film there than any other European city. And it's also just like it's just very picturesque. Like it's perfect
Yeah.
for like to set up any scene in Europe, even if you're trying to make it pass as like Paris or like Berlin or whatever, like you can just set up a street to make it look like that. Just put like French signs or German signs and it just looks like any other European city, but it's really beautiful.
Do they have like sections of the city that are like probably more so for like reconstructing or like modifying so that you can film like if you wanted to?
I wouldn't say there's sections of that, but this city is sectioned off. For example, I lived in Prague 4, which is south of the city center. And the closer you get to the center, the lower the number is. So Prague 1 is obviously like
The center.
the center.
Yeah.
And the further you go away, the bigger the number gets.
Wait, so how many Pragues are there?
I think there's like more than 20
Oh shit.
or like around 20.
Damn.
Yeah. I lived in 4. It wasn't that far from the center, but it was considerably far.
Yeah.
I would say to get to Prague 1, it would probably take me like half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I mean, going to class was a hassle because I didn't live in, well, first of all, where I went to, the program that I did in Prague was called CET FAMU. And essentially it has to do with film production.
Right.
So I had the opportunity to co-direct and write a short film shot on 16 millimeter, which
Sorry,
You have a
I
soundboard.
made a joke that like I was gonna put like the yay, like the kids cheering on a YouTube type thing.
Yeah.
All right, we don't have a soundboard this week. I didn't get a chance to like modify it. Quick little side note there, but yeah, I reached for the soundboard to like do something that's anyway.
Okay.
Caught him off guard.
But yeah, that's what my program was about. And I went to FAMU, which is like the film and TV school of Prague, but it's not really a university, it's an academy. So really they only have academic buildings, but it's not like they have, what Bowdoin has where, they have a bunch of different buildings, It's basically like it's a self-sustaining thing here.
Mhm.
Whereas in FAMU, you just go to class and then that's it. And, like you're free. Like there's no other building
Yeah, so they don't
that's
have like
associated with it.
dorms.
Yeah, they don't have dorms, they don't have dining halls, they have nothing.
Gotcha.
So I
Oh, okay.
was living essentially, like a realistic lifestyle in that sense, where it's like you kind of commute to a job or whatever. Or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So then, did you have like roommates and stuff like that?
I did. I had 3 other roommates, 4 in total in our apartment. And it was a very small apartment, so we were kind of crowded. We had a small kitchenette, which was always like full of shit. And I wish we had more space, but I mean, you had to make do with what you had. But yeah, I would say my rooming situation was pretty all right. It wasn't necessarily great, but it wasn't also terrible. Um, I mean, it wasn't that big of a place, but I mean, it was a place. It's better than being homeless. um, I had one direct roommate. He was pretty chill. I really fucked with him. And then we had a Czech roommate, which we never saw at all. He would always be gone. Like I would only see him like when he would come in or out, but I never really talked to him or like really hang out with him because he would just be gone the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had one other roommate who got his own room, which, I guess he got pretty lucky. But yeah, that was my rooming situation. And essentially every time I would have to go to class, I would have to commute 45 minutes on the tram. And that basically meant that I had to wake up earlier and do stuff earlier because I would have to leave to get there on time. Which is, something that I missed about here, where it's like you can wake up 5 minutes before your class and you can be there. Whereas over there, you kind of have to prepare, actually be an adult. But yeah, that's sort of my housing stuff. In terms of classes, to be quite frank, well, the way that the program works is that you do have sort of the traditional lectured classes, but it is production based. So you're essentially making a movie, right? So you have to take the steps to make a short film. And your classes are supposed to substantiate that. So you do have, we had like a storyboard class. We had a sort of like a technology class about, how to manage cameras and whatnot. We would have, our regular, or I guess like we would have our sort of screenwriting class or whatever, how to write a script and stuff like that. But to be honest, they were not as helpful. And I mean, this is supposed to be like a review of this, okay? So like I'm going to be brutally honest. And if my mentors or any of like the FAMU people that are listening to this right now will here's some feedback, okay? Because you really need it.
You should send them like an email with the link to this episode. Get me some international views.
International views. Well, if you see like a Czech person like in your statistics, your new data or whatever.
Yeah, I'll take a look while you talk.
Yeah. Then it's probably one of them. But yeah, the classes weren't as useful as I thought they would be because the way they do stuff over there is very bureaucratic. It is quite the opposite of what Bowdoin is, where how Bowdoin, people are ready to help you in whatever way they can. Like if you email a professor, they email you back immediately and they try to find ways to sort of help you with whatever question or problem that you bring to them. Over there, they don't believe in that. They sort of kind of just ignore you in a way. And even if they do respond to you, it is just a very like dry and sort of figure it out yourself response. Which, you know, it's not helpful at all when you're trying to learn something.
Right.
And also translated to the actual lectures, because a lot of stuff was basically regurgitated. You know, they kept sort of hammering into our heads this idea of like film has to be a 3-act structure, or it has to have like your audience is supposed to care about your character. It's supposed to have a conflict. Really, like the way that they think about film is, or at least the way that I perceive that they think about it, is that there's only one right way to do it, which is completely false.
Right. I mean, yeah.
It's just like you can't. There's no right way to do film. There's no right way to do painting. There's no right way. You know what I mean? It's
Like with any really creative thing.
Exactly. It's like there's no right way to do it. Obviously, you have to learn the ABCs. Like obviously, you have to learn the basics. You can't write a whole book if you don't know the alphabet, right? Which I understand. Maybe that's what they were going for, but at the same time, they really limit your creativity there, where they have one way to do it and it's the right way, and if you don't do it that way, then it's wrong, which, you know, really kind of screwed up my approach, or like just or it didn't screw up, but it just really, I feel like it really limited my opportunities with the film that I made, because all the feedback I was getting is like, you know, oh, do it this way, don't do it that way. And I was like, okay. So I had to listen to them in order to, you know, to satisfy their needs. And even then, when we screened the film at the very end, they were like, "Oh, you should have done this instead of that." I'm like, "Motherfucker, I told you that." Like it would be something that I would bring up, and they'll be like, "Nah, don't do that. Do this." And then whenever you screen it, they're like, "Oh, you should have done that." And I'm like, "Oh my fucking god!" But yeah, so that's how I felt about that sort of aspect of the program. It's just like they really limit your creativity. They really want you to do it one way, which was a big turnoff for me. And I feel like I could have gotten more out of it if it wasn't that way. Like obviously I'm satisfied with what I made. We did make a short film. We did put a lot of effort into it. And I'm satisfied that we did come out with something, you know, plausible, something you can actually watch on a screen. But there is just, you know, there's just that
there is a lot of limitations.
There is a lot of limitations, and I would, you know, it could have been better, in my opinion.
I am curious. You did mention, like, before you left, having to learn Czech and stuff. Like, did you get to put any of that to use, or was that like mostly like when you went into town or something?
Yeah, I actually used it a lot. Surprisingly, Czech it's so different from English and Spanish. It's just crazy. It's crazy how much I learned. That's actually one of the few classes that I genuinely enjoyed over there, was my Czech class, because first of all, the professor, like the lecturer, she was really nice, and she also had a lot of experience with like teaching Czech to English speakers. So like, you know, it made sense that, you know, her classes would be that effective. She was really nice. I surprisingly learned a lot of Czech during my time over there. And I would use it basically on the regular, whenever I would have to order food, whenever I would have to like greet people and say goodbye, stuff like that. Mostly just to order food. I mean, because it's like
right, because you had to like fend for yourself pretty much.
Yeah. And I would say most people in Prague do speak English. But it's just nice to just engage with the language, because you do learn a lot just by speaking it,
right,
and just by hearing other people speak. Because it's just completely foreign to me, or at least it was completely foreign to me when I first started learning it. That, you know, I didn't really imagine myself learning that much, but surprisingly I did. But yeah, I had to take Czech. I don't know. I don't know where to expand upon that.
Well, okay. I do remember when we interviewed Professor Johnson, Reed Johnson, he like mentioned that when he was like in Russia, a lot of the things, or like a lot of his
Shout out to him.
experience. Yeah, a lot of his experiences, were kind of like about the fact that he was American and he was kind of like seen as like a like, oh, like you're a foreigner, like and
Yeah.
it was almost like with curiosity and like amazement.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you like kind of
If
were
I
able
felt
to relate
that.
to that like whatsoever.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I don't think I ever got racially profiled in any way.
Okay, that's not
But there were, I mean, most people, like, whenever I would talk or like whenever I would approach a Czech person, they would just start speaking English to me because they obviously assume that
yeah.
I wasn't Czech. Um, but yeah, I guess like people would stare at me sometimes. Um, they would just like speak to me in English.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really think of anything else.
Well, this was before you cut your hair, right?
Yeah, I had really long hair, so I looked even more foreign. Yeah. For those who don't know, I like buzzed my hair a month ago. So, well, I mean, I don't even know if people know what I look like, but yeah, I look different.
Miguel's just faceless. Like,
Yeah. I actually don't exist.
like
This is AI.
Facebook default profile picture.
I'm actually AI, by the way. Michael made this like amazing new AI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. I mean, I did feel that to a degree where, you know, like I was just perceived as a foreigner.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like it wasn't in any negative way. You know, it's just like normal, I guess, or at least like normal to them to see a foreigner like me, because America is an immigrant country, right? You know, it's
Yeah.
like pretty normal to see immigrants from, you know, all over the world, whereas the Czech Republic is, you know, it has a strong like, you know, primary ethnic or like, you know, yeah, I guess like primary ethnic, you know, population, and then, you know, from there you have, you know,
Yeah.
like a small percentage of
But-
foreigners and whatnot.
like a definition of a Czech person is more like defined, because like the definition of like what an American looks like can be very
Yeah.
like, yeah, it can vary.
Yeah. Interestingly, though, there is a lot of Vietnamese people in the Czech Republic, and I did some research on this, and apparently it has to do with the fact that when Czechoslovakia was a communist country, and also
Right.
Vietnam was a communist country, they had some sort of like workers exchange program where they would import workers from Vietnam to
Yeah.
work in Czechoslovakia, and that's where they emerged. So yeah, fun fact of the day.
Fun fact.
Yeah, we should do that. Fun fact of the day.
Fact of the day.
But yeah,
I'll make a note.
but I think those were like the most prevalent I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't say immigrants, maybe, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, different people that are non-Czech. But yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to get into like I remember seeing on your story, or maybe it was like a post of when you went to like a soccer game or a football game. Excuse
Football.
me.
Yeah, it's not called soccer, it's football. Sorry. I'm a European now.
Yeah, I mean, like you've been to like American sports games, so like just describing like the difference in atmosphere, because I feel like the Europeans have it down.
Yeah, they are a lot more passionate about sports over there. It's crazy. You think that American football here is like, you know, go Texans or whatever, and they go pretty crazy about it, but over there they go even crazier, because like it's imagine, you know, like diehard football fan, but they've had like 4 beers down and the game hasn't even started,
Yeah.
and they have like you know, crazy like flares and stuff like that, and they're just screaming all the time. Imagine that, but like however many people, like 10,000 people there.
Damn.
Like multiply that by 10,000, and then just like imagine the noise they can produce by doing that.
Yeah.
And they also just have like their, what's it called? You know how like some stadiums have like their diehard fan section?
Right.
They have that too. But they go pretty crazy because, you know, Czech people or European people.
Yep. Fun fact.
Fun fact.
I'll give you another one. The Clippers are. See, I wanted to sneak that in there.
Fuck the Clippers.
Hey, yo, what
I'm
the hell?
joking.
The Clippers were rolling. I'll say that first. We are
Or is he out?
fourth. We have been relatively healthy throughout the entire season. We are fourth in the standings, only about a game and a half behind the first place team. And there's actually pretty much like a three-way tie in like first on the Western Conference right now, because the Western Conference is stacked. I'll say like the playoff teams on the Western Conference are like I'm so excited for April. Um, but anyway, so the Clippers, this is like recent news, are building like their own stadium. So like they've shared what used to be Staples Center for like the longest time. Now it's like crypto.com arena. Cringe. But but basically like it's always been like, the Staples Center has pretty much been like the home of the Lakers, and like the Clippers just kind of like, I don't know, they just exist. So this will be the first time that the Clippers have their own stadium, their own arena, and one of the biggest selling points is Steve Ballmer, the like owner of the Clippers, wants to really capture some of that European atmosphere, at like the European sports atmosphere. So he is he's like making a section called the Wall. You get flashbacks to like 2016, but he's making a section called the Wall, which is basically on like the opposing team's side of the court. Is gonna be like a massive, like I don't know, I think it's like 50 rows of essentially the supporter, like diehard fan section.
Yeah.
And so the idea there is that we're gonna bring some of that European flair to American sports and the NBA. And I'm excited to like see that. It's crazy because you have to like go through a whole application process in order to even be able to buy tickets for that section. Otherwise, like you're not allowed in.
You're not a real fan.
You gotta have like, I think they call it like a Chuck mark. Chuck is like our mascot. He's like a condor. I don't know what that has to do with Clippers, but
that's a random ass.
and then before they were the Clippers, they were called the Braves. So then I don't even know where the hell a condor came from, but anyway, so then it's like a little stamp that like you have, basically, that's essentially a verification that you are like a Clippers fan. So it's kind of funny. Over break I went to 2 games that like we went, and we were sitting in like way the fuck up in like the nosebleeds, but like while we were going to our seats, there was this one guy who was like, hey, like, do you guys want to upgrade your seats? Because we were like all decked out in our Clippers gear. Like, me, I got my jersey and shit.
Yeah.
So then like I mean my family was all like okay, sure, like what do we have to do? And then he was like, nothing, just follow me.
What the fuck? No, he's gonna like kidnap you.
No, listen. But so we follow him downstairs, right? And he like takes us to like this section that is essentially where the Wall would be, but at Staples. And so I pretty much got like a massive upgrade in our seats. And then the second time that we went, the guy found us again, and he was all like, hey, follow me.
No.
So then that was like pretty sick. Great experience. We won both games, and we played against the Suns, who are loaded with KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. They've been on a hot streak. They were pretty much like chilling in the play-in tournament, which is like not guaranteed to be in the playoffs, but anyway, like the point is they were stacked. We blew them out. It was just awesome being there. And then we played against OKC Thunder, who are like in the past couple of years have kicked our ass. And so it was great to go to a game where like we won and there was a ton of highlights and it was like on national TV. It was, the atmosphere was just great. And especially because we were sitting with like a bunch of other Clippers fans. It's like I've had experiences where I go to a game and I'm sitting next to fans of the opposing team, and it's terrible, bro, because it's like you want to be like, yeah, you want to be like cheering for your team, but then they just kind of are like ruining the vibe, and I'm just like, man, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So then like being in the fan section, I was on my feet like the whole 48 minutes of the game, and it's just like there's just a bunch of like chants and stuff, and it was just like a really good like vibe. And so I'm really excited to see how the Wall is gonna like turn out to be. I feel like the name could use a little work, but like, other than that, it seems like it'll be really fun. And I love kind of seen the comments on Instagram for like NBA because everyone's a troll, bro.
Yeah, Instagram comments go wild.
Dude, we could have a whole episode on like Instagram comment because every comment is like at this point funnier than like the actual
post,
memes and stuff. Like people could probably genuinely start their comedy career on Instagram.
On Instagram comments. Yeah.
And all of them start with like bro blank with like the skull emoji at the end.
Yeah.
There's like a template now, or you just like quote something with like a laughing emoji. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's just like instant likes, but I don't know, like the comments for like those for that news was just like, man, this is gonna look sick with all 12 Clippers fans. And I'm all like, man, fuck you, we exist. Clipper Nation, where we at?
Clipper Nation.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll pull up, we'll turn up. 50 rows is crazy though. Like that.
How many seats are in each row?
I would, my guess would probably be like 20, 25.
25 times 50. I can't do math.
That's a lot of people. That's like
100.
100 and
Yeah.
1,000. That's like 1,000.
20 times 50. That's 1,000. Yeah. Right.
Listen, I may be a math minor, dog, but I'm busting at 25 times 50. Okay, yeah, that's 1250. I could be wrong about how many seats, but I'm pretty sure it's around 20, I'd imagine. Because it's like, you'd think about it, it's like, it's supposed to be across, like, behind the rim of the basket. So it's like, those sections are pretty big, I'd say.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just something I wanted to point out because I will say, I think if we're going to win a championship, it's this year. So I'm really excited. The Clippers are actually playing right now. I'm a fake fan, bro. I'm not watching the game. And we're playing against the Toronto Raptors, who made like a pretty big trade. A lot of shit has happened in the NBA. That could be like its own thing. We're up by 10 with about 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. So I'm just gonna have my game here. Don't mind me. I'll have it on mute. I'll have it on mute. Don't worry.
Distracted.
Nah, bro, we're locked in. We're locked in. Shout out the Clippers. Kawhi's been doing his thing. We got James Harden.
Yeah, I saw.
That was a big trade.
Oh man, I missed that.
We pretty much like emptied like the backside of our bench to get him. And I will say, at first I was a little bit hesitant. On my Instagram story, I barely post on my Instagram story. I was like, this will either be one of the greatest trades or one of like the worst flops. And after that, we went on like a 6-game losing streak after we traded for Harden.
Oh my God.
And it was rough. I can't lie. It was rough being a Clippers fan, getting excited, and kind of like I love watching the Clippers play basketball. I think I've seen every single game that they've played so far. So I'm really excited. I feel like we have top 3 chances of like making it out to win the whole thing.
To win the whole thing, I think you guys are gonna make it to the semis.
That's conference finals.
Yeah.
Second to last round, you mean?
Yeah, second to last round. Whatever.
Before the finals. Yeah.
It's semifinals. The terminology is the same. Just potato.
Well, because right now I would put Celtics to be like the favorites.
Yeah.
Nuggets are looking really good right now too, and they'll probably come out in the West. And if not, the Clippers.
The Clippers.
That's my predictions. If we see a Clippers Celtics finals or a Nuggets Celtics finals, we'll come back to this episode and I'll be like, I told you so.
You should place your bet online.
Place my bet right now. Like people have told me like I should get into sports betting, and I'm like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I love enjoying the game, like as a fan right now, and I don't want to like put on the come on, freaking random player on the bench. You just got to get like 10 points or something.
Yeah. You become like Uncut Gems. You ever saw that movie?
I did see that with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be you in like 20 years.
Oh.
You have your own jewelry
oh shit,
store,
dude.
And you're going to be betting on, what's his name? Kevin Garnett.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to have a big ass rock.
Bro, Adam Sandler is like low-key a hooper. Have you seen like him play?
I haven't seen him play.
Do you remember? I think it was Grown Ups. he like he like actually plays basketball in that game.
He doesn't just fake it like
Yeah,
most
well, I
actors
mean,
do.
yeah, because a lot of sports movies and
Sports
stuff
movies are pretty
very fabricated and shit.
Film is an illusion. That's what I learned over there.
But it's great. Like, I mean, it's supposed to be dramatic. It's supposed to be like really like capturing the audience and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like in that sense, it's really nice. But well, when it's like there's no like, have you seen Space Jam, the fucking Michael Jordan dunk where like his arm extends like
Yeah, I know what you're thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I mean, to be fair, that's a movie for kids, but like it's kind of
still
goofy.
a good movie though.
It is a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
LeBron James did one. I fell asleep watching it. I don't know.
The sequel cannot. Yeah. That's the problem with movies is that, they try to force sequels into things and it just doesn't work.
Dude.
I can go through a whole argument.
I feel like TV shows as well. Like I heard The Office is getting like a reboot. And to be fair, my sources is like just scrolling through Instagram.
Yeah.
but it's just like not everything needs a reboot,
I know.
especially with things that like just ended like 10 years ago ish. So it's just like I don't know what you're doing.
I know. It's just you just have to end things, There's got to be like resolution, or even just you don't even need resolution. It just has to end somehow. Like, for example, one of the reasons why, shows like Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad are such good shows, and
like The Sopranos.
The Sopranos, and why people enjoy them is because they end. There's an ending, like everything. Because if you don't have an ending, then there's no weight to the episodes or to the whole plot itself, because it just keeps going and it's endless.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why like shows like Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad,
and even like less serious shows like That 70s Show. Like I remember when because it ends on like New Year's going into 1980, because it's That
which
70s
makes
show.
Sense, yeah.
And so it's just like that pretty much has like a definite end. You know what I mean? But then fucking Netflix came out with That 90s Show, and then it's just like, bruh.
Yeah, or they just try to recycle stuff. But yeah, shout out to Vince Gilligan or whatever his
Gilligan.
name.
Yeah.
Bravo, Vince. You did a great job.
I love that.
Please give me a job.
I love the Walter.
Walter.
Put your dick away, Walter.
Walter. Put your dick away, Walter.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it's actually insane how much I've been thinking about Better Call Saul. Because I think I personally, my own opinion, I think it has the best pilot of any TV show ever.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching it for the first time and it really just like hooked me.
Yeah, dude.
And there's no other show that really hooked me that way. But just in terms of writing, we actually did look for one of my classes over there. We looked at the very first episode script, like the pilot script.
Like the script.
Yeah, like the actual script. And this guy's writing is amazing. This guy's a real like screenwriter. The way he really sets up the scene, and the way because the screenwriting is different from writing an essay or a book, because you have to try your best to convey an image to someone who doesn't know what you're thinking about, or like doesn't know the way you're envisioning it. You know what I mean? That's a very hard thing to do. And I can see why, his shows are very great, because he just has that sort of click where he's able to do that in the script. And we were reading his first the pilot episode script for Breaking Bad, and it's just amazing, like the way he describes things and the way he sets up the scene. Because like when I was reading it, like it just fits so perfectly with the actual like footage that they had of the pilot episode.
I had no idea he did Community.
Who, Vince?
Yeah.
Did he? I thought that was the Rick and Morty guy.
I mean, apparently.
I actually did not know that. Community is one of my favorite shows. I guess that makes sense why it's my favorite show, because it's written by him too, right?
Yeah. Okay. So he's not like, I don't think he's one of the main guys, but according to this thing, he definitely. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. I looked up Vince Gilligan movies and TV shows and communities on here, so I'm guessing he maybe did like an episode or two
Yeah,
or
he
something
probably
like that.
contributed of some sorts. I mean, it makes sense because some of the cast from Breaking Bad is also in Community.
I had no idea about that.
What's
I
his
haven't
name?
seen the show.
Mike is in it. Mike Ehrmantraut, and I only know them by their actor names. I only know them by their character names, not their actual names.
Yeah.
And then Giancarlo is also in it. Gus.
That guy's intense.
That guy's very intense. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, dude. I got to see the end of Better Call Saul. I don't know if we talked about this on the show.
No.
I watched the final episode and I was just like, I'll be honest, I was like, huh? I was like, I was just like, as a fan of the show, like I didn't watch it. I didn't watch Breaking Bad as it was coming out. I didn't watch Better Call Saul as it was coming out. I kind of watched everything like after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like I didn't really get to experience like the true journey of like following these characters over many years and like finally seeing it come to an end. Because I just kind of like binged the show, and then by the end of it, I was just like, huh.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say what happens for obvious reasons, but like, I don't know. I felt like it's one of those that's supposed to be like not fully satisfying, which I think it makes sense for like what the show is and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I did find it satisfying, but I think it did really. It wrapped things up pretty well.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because obviously a satisfying ending would be like, he doesn't go to jail, he gets away with it, sort of like the Jesse ending in El Camino. Sorry, spoilers.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep.
Do you actually want me to keep going or not?
I mean, fuck it, we bog. It's been out for like a year. If you haven't seen the show.
If you haven't seen it, you should have seen it by now, okay? What are you doing with your life?
I'll put a little warning if you didn't see that. Whoops.
But yeah, it's it's like you get the Jesse ending in El Camino, which I frankly think it's a very good movie. I don't know why it got like mixed reviews.
I thought it was great.
That movie is amazing. I loved El Camino. Just the way that it ties things up with Breaking Bad, and also like bits and pieces of Better Call Saul too. It's like really good. But you have that ending where it's like this. I guess you get a little bit of everything. You have like the tragedy in Walter White in Breaking Bad. Then you have this sort of like middle ground with Better Call Saul, where he just goes to prison, but in a way, it ends there, but it doesn't.
Yeah. I can see that.
And then you have like the good ending with Jesse,
who I feel like of all characters absolutely deserved.
He deserved it, yeah,
dude. Yeah,
Aaron Paul did such a great job with Jesse Pinkman. I think
I feel like there's definitely some story of like how Aaron Paul. I feel like he was one of I can't remember exactly, but I remember seeing like because YouTube Shorts has me like by the balls. It's crazy, but like I've seen, but I've seen some YouTube Shorts that are like, just like really old like audition clips and stuff. And like I mean, my source being like fucking Instagram comments or whatever. Like, I think or I'm pretty sure that like he was one of those cast members that, like, literally coming in like into the audition and like just from the first couple of like runs that he did or whatever like. The people who like created the show like knew that he was like perfect for the role.
Yeah.
And like it's just crazy to kind of see how like that fully fleshed out, and it's just like wow.
Yeah. No, yeah, they did amazing casting for those shows in that movie. But yeah. I don't know where to go. Kind of went like on a long tangent.
I mean, dude, movies and stuff, it's just like there's so much there. And I mean it's relatively related to like what you did in Prague.
What I did in Prague.
Which by the way, can you watch like is it publicly available or is it like
I want to
so I could like link it in the description or something.
Well, the thing is, we're gonna have an exclusive premiere of it here at Bowdoin College.
Okay, so then I won't.
Date TBD. After that, I'll have it available. Just because I want to build hype up. Because it is my first film that I directed. Um, I don't. Fuck, man. That's why I think I'm coughing a lot is because of all that cigarette smoke that I inhaled in Prague. Because everyone smokes there.
Mm.
Yeah,
I feel like the cold air doesn't help either because it's dry as shit here.
yeah. Like a typical Czech breakfast is a five. It's a five or no, like it's half a liter of beer and a cigarette. Yeah,
My man.
they don't do breakfast over there like we do.
Oh shit! You know, both of us were pretty much sober before you left. One of us has changed.
One of us has changed. Yeah, so I used to not.
Let us know in the comments. Oh,
Wait, what are you saying?
Let us know in the comments who you think.
No, I'm gonna fess up.
There is a reason I stopped making the. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no. I started drinking in Prague just because I don't know, the beer looked cool. That shit looked interesting. So I was like, I'm gonna dabble in it, and I dabbled in it, and it turns out, Czech beer is pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah. Where was I before that?
Typical Czech breakfast, and then before that, the cigarette smoke is probably the reason why you're coughing.
Before that. Oh, you were saying how it relates to my film. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh yeah.
It becomes available after.
We just did fucking like undo in real time. That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like I feel like I don't know what else is there to say about the program. The food is good, but obviously it misses spice. Like there's no conception of spice over there, except for a few exceptions. Like there's like this little there's this famous dish over there. It's called beef goulash. It's just essentially like sort of like a beef stew in a way, where it's submerged in like sort of this thick broth, and then you get like a bunch of like bread slices. They're called dumplings, but they're not the dumplings that the way that we see dumplings here. But they're like bread slices, and you sort of just eat it. You can eat it with the utensil, but then you use like the bread. Like the bread is very spongy, so it absorbs like the broth and stuff like that, and that's pretty good. And it sometimes comes with like a little pepper, that's spicy. But other than that, it's good, but it's not like wow, this is great.
Did you get to try or like any Mexican food?
Yeah, I went to this one restaurant called Las Adelitas, and it was okay. I mean, it kind of like it was a little upscale Mexican restaurant, which makes sense because Mexican food is hard to come by. So they're obviously going to inflate the price if it's not that available. And I got some. What did I get? Enchiladas de mole, with rice and beans, and it was pretty good. But it's not what I could get at home.
Right, so, and then you come back from Europe, City. And then you go.
I go to Mexico City and I have the best food of my life, and then I come back to Brunswick, Maine, and just have dining hall food, which I'm not complaining because I also had to cook for myself over there. I had no dining plan. So yeah, I had to go grocery shopping and like do actual adult things to maintain myself and not die. But yeah, the public transportation is so nice.
Okay.
It literally took me 10 minutes to get to wherever I went grocery shopping. I went grocery shopping to this shopping center called Akardi Pankratz.
What? Does that mean anything?
I don't know what it means. I don't know how to pronounce it.
All right, there you
go. But it's like this big shopping center. They have a bunch of stuff in there, but they also have they don't call them supermarkets. They call them hypermarkets.
I feel like that's way more epic.
Yeah, but it's the size of a supermarket.
Yeah.
You know how like I guess like things in Europe are downsized compared to America.
Let's go.
Because we like big things.
We like big things.
So a hypermarket over there is a supermarket here.
Yeah.
And a supermarket over there is like a market here. So yeah. But I went to a hypermarket over there. It's called Albert. And that was my plug for my food.
There you go.
Yeah. I'd buy my food there. And also on the topic of just purchasing stuff, it's relatively cheaper over there. For example, like I would get chicken pad thai sometimes from this place that was near my apartment. And it would only be like $8 or something, and it was a pretty considerable amount of food. Whereas here, especially here in Maine, like things are just, I feel like they're getting overpriced. Um, like I would say the same order of pad thai here in Maine would probably be like $13 or something like that. Um, but yeah, that was pretty nice because I'm broke and I need to save. So having like
Fair
cheaper
enough.
groceries and cheaper food and stuff like that was really really nice.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess also today's shout out could be Questbridge because that um trip I mean pretty much I mean was it like fully covered pretty much
yeah, I don't have to pay a single cent.
including transportation.
Yeah.
That's insane. Shout out Questbridge.
Well, I did have to pay for my groceries, but
Well, yeah, I mean that's
it's part of Questbridge, I guess. I don't know.
yes.
Well,
I
shout out to
gotta every time
Questbridge.
we make a run to Hanny's, I gotta
Pay out of your pocket.
pay out of my pocket. Man, what the hell? No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, the public transportation there is amazing. It's not always on time. Sometimes it's like a minute. It's like 2 minutes late. Like at the very most, it's 5 minutes late. But it's usually on time. You can basically get around the whole city, without a car. You can even go outside of the city without a car with the like more long distance trains. There's buses. There's like what are they called? Trams.
Trims.
There's the metro. It's pretty cool. It's very modernized too. It's such a very interesting city because it went through. It's been through so like it's just it just has a lot of history behind it.
Yeah.
Because you would see like if you go to the dead center of the city, obviously you see all the touristy stuff, but you see like you see like the real medieval old Europe style of certain buildings and stuff like that. Sometimes when you go into Prague 1, I remember there's a street that takes you to Prague 1, and you can still see like the old city wall from like the medieval ages. And it just cuts off because the street has to go through, right? But it's really cool because you could just like see, the wall, like it's just there. It's not like a museum or anything. It's just there. Like I guess they're not using it, but it's part of the city. It's still part of the city.
Yeah.
And you can see like the little slits where they would use to like defend the city if it was ever attacked, which is pretty cool. And you see a lot of stuff. You see a lot of that stuff around too, just like medieval structures and stuff like that. But you also have like your more modern buildings, like for example, for between like 17th century and 20th century, sort of like those like emerging sort of apartment buildings or whatever, the ones that are like sometimes they're like decorated with mosaics or they have like statues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have those like
did you take like photos and stuff?
yeah, I have a couple photos.
Yeah, if you want to share them with me, I could put them like up on the screen for the people to see.
Yeah, I can share them. But yeah, there's like certain buildings with there's like very intricate statues and it's very well decorated and it's obviously it's influenced or they were built and I guess they're still maintained during that period. But then you also have the communist buildings, which that's more outside of the city. When you go to residential areas, you can, especially if you go, I think it's like south. Actually, if you just go outside of the city, like they're pretty much everywhere. But there's like the old Soviet apartment blocks, like like the big mega. They're not that big, but it's obvious that there's like the Soviet influence of having like a state sponsored apartment, and they're kind of copy and paste type thing.
Yeah.
And you see those outside of the city, usually on residential areas, and they're still being used too. And then you have like the more modern, like the most modern thing, which is like post Soviet, just like use structures where it's pretty modernized with glass and like skyscrapers and stuff like that. Um, and those are also outside of the city usually. There's like certain districts dedicated to that sort of stuff. Um, but it just has a lot of history, and it's very cool just to see like whenever you go through the city, you see how it changes as you go through it. You know, from
Yeah.
the outside to the inside, and that just like how much like happened there because like that country went. I mean, it it wasn't the Czech Republic didn't exist until
The split.
yeah, because it used to be Czechoslovakia during communist the during the communist I don't know regime. I don't know. I'm not like an expert in history, but
Yeah.
whenever they were communist, they were they were joined together Czechoslovakia. But after that, what happened was after I think it's called the Velvet Revolution. After that, there was the divorce, and essentially they both split into two different countries, two independent countries, which is Czech Republic and Slovakia.
Yeah.
And essentially that's essentially what the Czech Republic is today. Is the product of that split. So it's a relatively recent country in that sense. But it's gone through a lot in terms of just like World War One, and even before that, like the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and even I feel like the most sort of hard hitting one was World War Two, and the Nazi occupation. Um, yeah, so it's just such it's a good city to just like learn about because there's just so much to learn about it, and it's just so complicated and nuanced. Like its history is just so complicated and nuanced that it's insane. But I think it's just it's pretty cool. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things that I feel like I like will just be traveling or like just going around someplace, and I always wonder like what did this look like before it was like kind of like civilized, or like before it was inhabited by humans kind of thing. It's a weird wonder. I don't know. I just kind of like sometimes will like just like I'm standing somewhere, especially here in like Maine or Bowdoin. Like I'm just like what did this look like
Who
200 years
decided to
ago?
settle here? Who thought it was a good idea? Let's make a town here and call it Brunswick.
Fuck it, we ball.
Fuck it, we ball. Like, come on, man.
Fuck it, we live here. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, well, I guess even before that, like
Indigenous people.
You had indigenous people.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they were chilling, bro. Like they were here for a while, and then the white man came or whatever.
The white savior.
Yeah, this is Brunswick now. You can fuck off. That's what he said.
Mine. Mine.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, I guess to like sort of wrap up. Well, that was terrible. To sort of wrap up our episode. I kind of wanted to just like talk a little bit about like some goals for 2024. Call it your podcast New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
I don't know, just in general, it doesn't have to be like crazy or anything. Like, what are some goals that you kind of have for the new year? I know it's kind of like, man, people don't really believe in New Year's. People don't really believe in New Year's resolutions because it's just like you do it for like 2 weeks and then all of a sudden you're like, man, fuck this. I'm just
I firmly believe that you can start a resolution at any point during the year.
Exactly.
It shouldn't really be an excuse for it to be 1 year or another.
Exactly.
You can definitely have goals for a certain year, to do by the end of it. But like if you want to do something, like start doing something.
Like a habit change.
Or, go climb a mountain or whatever. You can just start doing it, That's kind of the philosophy I try to follow, but I don't always follow it because I'm lazy. So
yeah. I guess for me, one of the biggest challenges that I'm going to be facing this year, I've already felt it. We've only been a week into school. Time management is going to be the ops for real.
The ops. What do you mean? Time management is supposed to be your friend if you need it.
Well, okay. Well, I meant like time itself. Because
No, you mean yourself. You're gonna be your own op. Bro.
Yeah, just the way I like. Well, I mean, it depends. Like you said, time management is a skill. It's something you develop. It's something you build. So like the better you get at it, the better your life will be. But if you have poor time management, well,
You're fucked.
things are gonna be
Sorry.
a little bit more rough. Yeah, I don't make the rules.
Yeah, I don't either. But
Anyway, so for me, I feel like time management is gonna be like my biggest thing that I'm gonna be developing this year. Because I'm just thinking like now, as a junior, you kind of take a little bit more of like a step up. It's very interesting because I don't feel like I will say there's a different feeling, where like that's just it's just completely different from being like a first year or a sophomore here. Like I can't really explain it, but this is something I really felt last year. Um, but it was just like I can feel that I'm a junior. Like I definitely feel like an upperclassman, and so like you're taking more of like a leadership role without really doing like officially anything. But it's just like there's like another level of like expectations or um like for example, I'm a Thrive peer mentor here, where I basically help first years kind of get along through the transition last year, and then now kind of just like really setting them up to be successful for the next couple years that they have here. So it's just like there's like a newfound like respect that I found, or that like came to me one day, and I was just like, whoa, what the hell? Like there, I just had like a you're a junior moment last semester. um and it's interesting. So now like I have a bunch of jobs on campus. All of them have to do with like helping people. So being like a mentor for kind of like underrepresented students here, and then being a writing assistant. So you'll find me at the writing center here in the library, where people can come in. They have help, or they want help with like their essays, or pretty much anywhere in the writing process. Like I'm trained to kind of like, if you're in the brainstorming process, I gotta help you like come up with some ideas. If you just want some guy to like read it, I'm your guy. Um, and then I'm also a learning assistant for which basically is like a TA for anyone who's outside of Bowdoin. Um, for computer science classes and stuff. Last year I did intro, which was awesome. I loved doing intro. And then this year I'm the TA for the software engineering class we have here, which I've done before, and so it'll be really fun to do that. So nothing screams education major more than kind of like what I throw myself into here on campus. And then aside from that, I play a club sport in ultimate frisbee. And then I do like a podcast, which is the thing you're listening to. I have a girlfriend, I have friends, I have family, and so it's kind of like really splitting my time. Like no, I didn't even mention academics. Like I also have my, four classes that I'm taking. So it's just like I feel like now I'm really trying to find a way to really balance like the fun stuff, and like the work stuff, and then also just like balancing my time between like each group. So it's not necessarily like an achievable or like a tangible goal. So it's not really like a smart goal to make, I'll be honest. But it's like essentially I just want to like see some sort of growth, like some very like visible like growth, whether that's like um just maintaining like healthy relationships with everyone who I'm close with, and like also having the time to like do the stuff that I love, and like fulfill my responsibilities that I'm obligated to do. um and that I feel like is going to be my biggest challenge. So if I can like overcome that this semester in particular, then I feel like my senior year will be a blast.
sounds cool.
Yeah. So one of those things is being consistent with this show. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes because I'm pretty busy too. I don't know what my goal is for this year. I don't know. I kind of want to run a marathon. I don't think I'll be able to make that though. Maybe half marathon would be nice. Yeah. I mean, in terms of just other stuff, I feel pretty comfortable with the way I'm handling most of my things. Obviously, comfort is not a good thing because it limits you in many ways. So,
You settle.
yeah, you settle for stuff, and settling is not good. You want to go out there and, go out there if you want to, if you want to achieve something, you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. That's what I've learned from basically being here. Um, or I guess that's what I've been learning throughout my whole life. I guess that can be a goal, just being more out of my comfort zone.
Learning how to be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah, because there have been. I mean, yeah, I remember. Um, I mean, there's like no specific moment, but there'd be times where I would choose comfort over uncomfort, and I would regret it because like if I didn't choose to go somewhere or do something, then it turns out it could have been a great experience or a great opportunity, and it could have led to more great things.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did that a lot more in the past. Now I don't do it as much. Although there are moments where I feel like I could have gotten out of my comfort zone, but I didn't. But I guess yeah, that would be one other goal, is just to push. Obviously, you don't want to like push yourself too much because then you'll just burn out, and you'll feel pretty terrible if you burn out by just like constantly pushing yourself to just do things. But I do want to be able to just like take a leap of faith whenever I have to, or not whenever I have to, but whenever there is a leap of faith that I might be a little uneasy about. Just doing it, and just see where it takes me. But yeah, I guess that could be my goal.
There we go. Let us know in the comments if you've made it this far into the episode. What are your goals for the year? And we can all kind of keep each other accountable. But aside from that, that pretty much wraps it up for today. Thank you guys so much for listening to On My Mind, the podcast. Like I mentioned before, the schedule, we're hoping to be consistently at least every Saturday at 3 p.m. And if not at 3 p.m. at some point on Saturday. That's the goal. I feel like consistency is something that I really want to strive for with this show. So if I had to make a goal for like this show in particular, it's easily just to be consistent, and that kind of really ties into what I mentioned before. So yeah, Miguel, do you want to give any extra shout outs?
Shout out to Mario. It's his birthday today.
Shout
Happy
out.
birthday.
We're terrible. Whoops, I shouldn't have said that on the show.
Shout out to Mario.
Shout out
Happy
to Mario.
birthday, Mario.
Happy birthday. Fun fact, again, real quick, you and Mario were the first people at Bowdoin that like I encountered.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like I thought that they worked here, like because they were like, "Yo, can I help you with your bags?" And I was all like, "Sure." And they took me to my room and shit.
Yeah.
And then fucking like 15 minutes later, I found out, oh, they're like they're my year. They're like my little cohort. Yeah. Alrighty, man. It's been a good one. We hope you guys have a good week. Next week we don't really have any general plans for the episode, but hopefully we'll get you guys an episode.
Figure something out.
Follow the Instagram. I do plan on using it more. I have some general ideas, for example, utilizing the close friends stuff for the podcast to kind of do like sort of like an exclusive member thing. I've been cooking up some ideas for that. Your boy's trying to get paid, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like, but the idea is to kind of have something developed by the end of the semester, to be like fully in place. I'm also working on like, point is I'm doing a bunch of shit behind the scenes. Like, yes, I was gone for months and like didn't record an episode, but that didn't mean I like stopped working with the podcast entirely. I'm cooking in the background. And also, quick little score update. We're up by like 15 at half. I'm feeling really good about this game. Let's go Clippers. And with that, thank you guys so much.
Foreshadowing.
If they lose, that'd be so funny.
Foreshadowing.
Hey, today, or as in like the day the episode drops, the Clippers are playing the Celtics, so that we should watch the game. It'd be dope.
When are they playing them?
At 7.
What do you mean today?
Saturday, tomorrow.
Oh.
This doesn't have to be on the air.
Isn't that also the time when the hockey game?
Oh, fuck. You know what?
You're going to be with your little phone.
I'm going to be like, bro, it's the Celtics, though. Like, this is a potential finals matchup.
Yeah, but whatever.
Listen, like, I love Bowden hockey. No, I don't. But, like...
No, it is Bowden versus Colby. That's like a big-ass game.
Yeah, we went last year. That shit was fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I really don't know how I feel about all these changes in the studio. Did we even mention? I don't even think we did.
No, we'll talk about that later.
See you guys next time.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.